First Contact and False Assumptions. The Galactic Confederation's flagship, Eternal Wisdom, emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sol system, its crystalline hull refracting starlight in dazzling patterns. Senior researcher Nixis adjusted her sensory tendrils, struggling to contain her disappointment as she studied the preliminary scans of Earth's orbital infrastructure. Primitive, utterly primitive, muttered Fleet Commander Vrath, his scaled armor clicking as he paced the bridge. Chemical rockets, radio waves, metal hulls that would crumble under a single plasma burst. Why did you insist we divert the entire diplomatic fleet for this, researcher? Nixis ignored the commander's tone, her 12 fingers dancing across holographic displays as she compiled the sensor data. After 3 centuries of studying emerging civilizations, she had learned to trust her instincts. And something about Earth's development pattern felt wrong. Look at these energy signatures, Commander, she said, projecting a complex mathematical model into the air between them. They're perfect. Too perfect. Explain. Vrath's interest was piqued despite himself. Every civilization we've encountered shows irregularities in their technological development. False starts, dead ends, developmental leaps. But Earth's progression. She manipulated the display, showing a smooth, unwavering curve. It's as if they're following a script. Before Vrath could respond, the communications officer's tendrils flickered with surprise. Commander, we're being hailed. It's from their orbital station. Audio only? Vrath asked, mandibles twitching in amusement. No, sir. Full holographic transmission. Silence fell across the bridge. A species at Earth's apparent development level shouldn't have had that capability. The main display shimmed, and a human female appeared, wearing what appeared to be a simplified uniform. Greetings, vessels of the Galactic Confederation. I am Station Director Helena Chen of the Earth Space Command. Welcome to Sol System. Her words came through in perfect galactic standard. Another impossibility that sent Nix's tendrils writhing with excitement. Vrath recovered quickly. Greetings, Director Chen. I am Fleet Commander Vrath. Your command of our language is unexpected. We maintain extensive monitoring arrays, Chen replied with a slight smile. Your approach gave us time to analyze your communications and adapt accordingly. Nix's sensors detected something odd during the transmission. For a fraction of a second, the background behind Chen seemed to shift, revealing glimpses of technology far beyond the primitive stations visible to their scans. If you'd like, Chen continued, we invite a delegation aboard our primary station to begin diplomatic discussions. We're eager to join the galactic community. Vrath turned to Nixis, his personal communicator engaged. Your thoughts, researcher. They're hiding something massive, Nixis replied privately. Those energy readings I mentioned. They're not just strange. They're impossible. No civilization develops this smoothly unless they're deliberately orchestrating what others see. A trap? No. Nix's tendrils curled in thought. A test. They're watching how we react to what they want us to see. The question is, why would an advanced civilization pretend to be primitive? Vrath considered this, then addressed Chen. We would be honored, Director. Though I must ask, our scans indicate your station's life support systems are basic. Will you be able to accommodate our biological needs? Chen's smile widened slightly. I assure you, Commander, we can provide for all your requirements. We're more capable than we might appear. As the Confederation's diplomatic shuttle approached the Earth station, Nixis studied the structure through her personal scanner. The station appeared to be a hodgepodge of metal modules linked by primitive airlocks, yet her instruments kept glitching, showing split-second readings of exotic materials and energy patterns that defied known physics. Commander, she whispered as they docked, whatever we're about to see in there, remember, it's what they want us to see. The real Earth, I suspect, is something else entirely. The airlock cycled, and Director Chen greeted them personally, her simple uniform a stark contrast to Vrath's ceremonial armor and Nix's sophisticated environmental suit. As they followed her through corridors that seemed deliberately designed to appear primitive, Nix's scanners caught more glitches, quantum fluctuations that shouldn't exist, energy patterns that hinted at technology centuries beyond what Earth was showing. The truth, Nix's realized, was going to be far more interesting than any of them had imagined. The question was, how long would humanity maintain this elaborate charade? And what would cause them to finally reveal their true nature to the galaxy? The mask slits. The observation deck of Earth's orbital station offered a spectacular view of the planet below, but Fleet Commander Vrath found himself more intrigued by what he couldn't see. His enhanced vision detected subtle distortions in the space around the station, microscopic ripples in reality that shouldn't exist in a primitive facility. More refreshments, Commander. Director Chen gestured to what appeared to be a simple serving drone. Nix's scanner immediately started smoking when she tried to analyze it. An interesting device, Nix's said, carefully setting aside her now useless scanner, particularly its quantum field generator. Chen's pleasant expression didn't waver. Simply a repurposed mining drone, researcher. Though I'd be happy to discuss our robotic assistance programs. The diplomatic dance was interrupted by a proximity alert. A massive vessel had just appeared at the edge of the solar system, its design unmistakably belonging to the Ravagers, a nomadic species known for stripping developing worlds of resources. How unfortunate, Vrath said, mandibles clicking in genuine concern. Director, the Ravagers are a significant threat to developing worlds. We should transfer you to our flagship for safety. That won't be necessary, Commander. Chen's demeanor had shifted subtly. She pressed what looked like a primitive communicator. Control, initiate Protocol Omega. Maintain facade level 3. Vrath and Nixis watched in astonishment as holographic screens materialized around Chen, displaying information in a language that rearranged itself faster than their translation software could process. The serving drone transformed, its simple exterior flowing like liquid metal to reveal a complex quantum computing core. What you're about to see, Chen said, her tone now crisp and professional, falls under Section 7 of the diplomatic agreement we've been discussing. I trust you understand the need for confidentiality. The station's apparent structure began to change. The crude metal walls shimmered, revealing layers of technology that made even the Confederation's most advanced systems look primitive by comparison. The entire station was composed of programmable matter, each atom precisely controlled and coordinated. By the first light, Nixis whispered, her tendrils writhing in excitement. You've achieved quantum coherence at a macroscopic scale. The Ravager vessel launched its first wave of attack drones, thousands of crystalline machines designed to overwhelm planetary defenses through sheer numbers. They never made it halfway to Earth. Space itself seemed to fold. Where there had been empty void, massive structures suddenly existed as if they had always been there. Orbital platforms that dwarfed the Confederation flagship emerged from what Nix's instruments identified as localized temporal pockets. We call them sentinel arrays, Chen explained, watching the Ravager drones encounter the first line of Earth's actual defenses. They exist in a state of quantum superposition until needed. Most species can't maintain quantum effects at this scale, which is why we keep them phase-shifted. The Ravager drones simply cease to exist as they hit the defense grid, not destroyed. Their very atoms were redistributed across space-time with surgical precision. The main Ravager vessel attempted to retreat, only to find itself enveloped in a field of distorted space-time. You understand now, Chen said, turning to face the Confederation representatives, why we maintain the facade. The last time we revealed our true technological level too quickly, it triggered a war that collapsed 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. We learned to be more subtle. Vrath's martial training warred with his instinct to retreat from the power Earth had casually displayed. How long have you been at this level? Longer than your Confederation has existed, Commander. We were there when the first interstellar civilizations emerged. We watched, we learned, and we decided to take a different path. The Ravager vessel hung motionless in space, caught in what Nixis recognized as a temporal stasis field. And what path is that, Director? Guidance without interference, protection without domination. Chen gestured, and a holographic display showed thousands of similar encounters across history, Earth's hidden hand subtly guiding younger civilizations away from destruction. We maintain the facade because most species aren't ready to know how much help they've had. And now, Vrath asked, watching as the Ravager vessel was gently but firmly escorted from the solar system by ships that seemed to bend reality around them. Now, Chen smiled, we think it's time for a more open partnership. The Confederation has matured enough to handle the truth, and you'll need our help for what's coming. What's coming? Nixis's scientific curiosity overcame her shock. The real reason we revealed ourselves today. Chen's expression grew serious. Something is emerging from the galactic core. Something old. We've detected temporal distortions that make the Ravagers look like children playing with toys. And for the first time in 50,000 years, humanity is worried. Tables turned. Researcher Nixis stood in what the humans called a basic tactical center, though there was nothing basic about it. The room existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, allowing its occupants to observe countless probability timelines at once. It took all her scientific training not to become overwhelmed by the cascading possibilities surrounding them. These are the temporal disturbances we've detected, Helena Chen said, manipulating the quantum display to show the galactic core. Red threads of possibility radiated outward like crystal fractures in space-time itself. They began 3 standard months ago and are accelerating. Impossible, Fleet Commander Vrath muttered, his scaled armor shifting uncomfortably as he processed the data. These readings suggest temporal manipulation at a galactic scale. No species has ever achieved that level off. No current species, corrected a new voice. Admiral Sarah Jung materialized in the room, her form coalescing from what appeared to be pure light. But we weren't the first civilization to reach this level of development, Commander. We were simply the first to survive it. Nix's tendrils curled in shock as she processed the implications. You've encountered others, ancient species that achieved quantum mastery. We didn't just encounter them, Jung replied, expanding the display to show structures hidden in subspace throughout the galaxy. We inherited their legacy. 50,000 years ago, humanity discovered the remains of a civilization we call the predecessors. Their technology operated on principles that made our quantum physics look like stone tools. The display shifted, showing massive geometric structures buried in the cores of dead stars, quantum matrices woven into the fabric of space itself, and temporal anchors that stabilized entire galactic arms. We spent millennia learning to understand even the basics of their science, Chen continued. That's why we maintain the facade of primitive development. We've seen what happens when species try to advance too quickly without understanding the fundamentals. The collapsed spiral arms. Vrath realized. You mentioned a war. The Emergence War, Jung nodded. 1,000 years ago, we revealed too much to a coalition of young civilizations. They tried to replicate predecessor technology without understanding the quantum principles involved. 3 spiral arms of the galaxy were temporarily shifted out of our time stream. We spent centuries repairing the damage. A sudden alert pierced the quantum space. One of the temporal disturbances had intensified, forming a visible rift near the galactic core. Through it, something massive was beginning to emerge. By the first light, Nixis gasped as her instruments analyzed the object. That's a Dyson sphere. But it's not built around a star. It's built around a temporal singularity. The predecessor's final project, Jung confirmed grimly. We thought it was abandoned, but something has reactivated it. The quantum signatures suggest it's being controlled by automated systems that have evolved far beyond their original programming. The tactical display showed the sphere's influence spreading, creating cascading temporal anomalies that threatened to destabilize the galactic core. Entire star systems were beginning to shift out of phase with normal spacetime. This is why we need the Confederation, Chen explained. Our quantum technology is advanced, but it's built on predecessor principles we still don't fully understand. Your civilization developed its own unique approach to space-time manipulation. Together, we might find a solution that neither of us could discover alone. Vrath's military training kicked in as he analyzed the tactical situation. You want to combine our crystal-based temporal technology with your quantum systems. The energy requirements alone would be astronomical. Zhang finished. But we've been preparing for something like this. Those primitive satellites you detected around Earth. They're actually quantum focal points, part of a galaxy-wide network we've spent thousands of years building. With your crystalline technology integrated into the network, we might be able to contain the temporal cascade. Nixis projected her own calculations into the quantum space, her 12 fingers dancing through probability streams. The math suggests a 76.3% chance of success if we combine our technologies. But, Commander, this would mean revealing our own secrets. All of them. Chen agreed. No more facades on either side. The Confederation has its own hidden capabilities, doesn't it, Commander? Vrath's scales shifted color as he considered the implications. The Confederation's true technological level wasn't as advanced as Earth's, but they had their own carefully maintained illusions. The Crystal Nexus, he said finally. Our real fleet. The temporal engines we've kept hidden from younger races. It's time for both our civilizations to step out of the shadows, Zhang said, her light form rippling with intensity. The predecessor's legacy is awakening, and it doesn't recognize any distinction between our species. We either face it together, or we watch reality itself unravel. The quantum space filled with new alerts as more temporal rifts began forming throughout the galaxy. Through each one, glimpses of impossible geometries could be seen. The predecessor's network coming back online after 50 millennia of dormancy. Well, Commander, Chen asked, extending her hand in a gesture she knew the Confederation had studied. Shall we show the galaxy what our species can really do? Hidden depths. The crystal nexus of the Confederation fleet emerged from hyperspace alongside Earth's quantum defense platforms, two technologies that were never meant to exist in the same space-time. Reality rippled around them as fundamental forces struggled to reconcile their presence. Quantum stabilization fields at maximum. Admiral Zhang's voice echoed through both fleets' command networks. Her light-form body now incorporated streams of crystalline data, a merge of human and Confederation technology. Begin synchronization of temporal matrices. Commander Vrath watched as his mighty crystal nexus, the Confederation's most closely guarded secret, interfaced with Earth's quantum network. The massive crystalline structure, normally invisible to all known detection methods, now pulsed with otherworldly energy as it absorbed quantum protocols that defied conventional physics. Energy harmonics achieving coherence, Nixis reported, her research vessel's sensors struggling to process the unprecedented merger of technologies. The human's quantum architecture it's evolving to accommodate our crystal matrices. I've never seen anything like this. That's because we're not just combining technologies. Director Chen explained, her image simultaneously appearing in every command center across both fleets. We're allowing them to learn from each other. Quantum systems and crystal matrices, operating in parallel, creating something entirely new. The display showed the temporal rift near the galactic core expanding. The predecessor's Dyson sphere was now partially visible, its impossible geometry causing physical pain to anyone who looked at it directly. Around it, space-time itself was beginning to fracture. Multiple temporal shockwaves detected. A human quantum eye announced, its voice resonating through crystalline receivers. First wave will reach populated systems in approximately 43 minutes. Show me the projected damage, Vrath commanded. The combined sensor networks generated a simulation that made even the seasoned commander's scales pale. The temporal shockwave would cause time itself to flow differently across affected regions. Entire civilizations could be thrown centuries into the past or future. The very fabric of causality was at risk. "Launch the hybrid probes," Zhang ordered. From both fleets, thousands of devices emerged, each one a marriage of Earth's quantum technology and Confederation crystal science. They streamed toward the rift in perfect formation, their combined fields beginning to stabilize the surrounding spacetime. "It's working," Nixis exclaimed, her tendrils writhing with excitement. "The quantum crystal matrix is creating a temporal dampening field. We might be able to contain." Her words cut off as something massive emerged from the rift. It wasn't part of the Dyson sphere. It was a ship, a predecessor vessel, awakened after 50,000 years of dormancy. "By all that exists," Chen whispered, "we've never found one intact before." The vessel defied conventional geometry, existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Its hull was composed of materials that seemed to ignore fundamental laws of physics, and it was active. Energy spike. Multiple sensors screamed in warning. The predecessor ship released a pulse that shattered the quantum crystal probes like glass. Behind it, the temporal rift widened further, and more shapes began to emerge. "It's not just one ship," John realized, her light form flickering with concern. "It's a fleet." The predecessors didn't just disappear. They relocated their entire civilization into that temporal pocket around the singularity. And now they're returning. Vrath finished grimly. "Question is, why now? And what do they want with our galaxy?" The answer came in the form of a transmission that bypassed all known communications protocols. It manifested directly in the minds of every being in both fleets, a message in a language so ancient it predated the concept of language itself. Nix's translation matrices worked frantically to decode it. It's not just a message. It's a quantum algorithm, rewriting itself as it executes. They're not trying to communicate with us. They're trying to reprogram reality itself. "Quantum firewalls failing," the human AI reported. "Crystal matrices showing signs of forced reconfiguration. They're not attacking our ships. They're attempting to alter the fundamental laws of physics in this region of space. Because they don't recognize us as life forms." Chen realized, her eyes widening. "To them, we're just incorrectly formatted matter, operating under obsolete universal constants. They're trying to fix our section of spacetime to match their own evolved physics." The predecessor fleet began to advance, each ship radiating waves of cosmic reconfiguration. In their wake, the very constants of reality began to shift, making conventional matter impossible. Zhang's light form stabilized as she made a decision. "We have one option left. Director Chen, Commander Vrath, it's time to activate the legacy protocol." "The what?" Vrath demanded. "Something we discovered in the predecessor ruins," Chen explained. "A quantum crystal seed algorithm so complex we've spent millennia trying to understand it. We think it's what they used to evolve beyond normal spacetime in the first place." "And you want to use it now, without testing?" Nixis asked, her scientific caution warring with the urgency of their situation. "We're out of options," Zhang stated flatly. "Either we evolve our technologies to match theirs, or we watch our entire galaxy be reformatted to accommodate their version of physics." The predecessor fleet drew closer, reality warping around them like cloth in a storm. Behind them, the temporal rift continued to widen, promising more ships, more changes, more fundamental alterations to the nature of existence itself. "Do it," Vrath commanded, his scales shifting to the deep purple of absolute commitment. "If we're going to face the end of reality as we know it, let's do it together." Unity forged. The legacy protocol wasn't a weapon or a shield. It was an evolutionary algorithm written into the fabric of reality itself. As Director Chen initiated the sequence, both fleets began to change at the quantum level. "Crystalline structures achieving quantum coherence," Nixis reported, her voice filled with wonder as she watched her own research vessel begin to transform. "The atomic lattices are reorganizing themselves based on principles that shouldn't be possible." The combined Earth Confederation fleet shimmered like a mirage, each ship's matter reconfiguring itself into patterns that echoed the predecessor's evolved physics. Crew members found their consciousness expanding, linking across quantum fields that transcended normal space-time. This is what they were trying to show us. Admiral Zhang's light form pulsed with sudden understanding. Her consciousness, now merged with both quantum and crystal matrices, could finally comprehend the predecessor's message. They weren't trying to destroy our reality. They were trying to help us survive what's coming. Through their newly evolved senses, they all saw it, a wave of pure entropy approaching from intergalactic space, a natural phenomenon that would render their entire galaxy uninhabitable to conventional matter. The predecessors hadn't flowed into their temporal pocket out of choice. They'd done it to survive. The Dyson sphere, Commander Vrath realized, his consciousness now spanning multiple probability states simultaneously. It's not a weapon. It's an arc. They built it to preserve life in our galaxy by elevating it beyond the entropy waves effect. The predecessor fleet halted its advance, recognizing the changes occurring in the combined fleet. A new transmission formed in their expanded consciousness, this time comprehensible through their evolved understanding. The children have achieved harmony. Integration can proceed. Director Chen's form had become a complex quantum crystal matrix, existing in multiple states of reality at once. They seeded both our civilizations with different pieces of their technology. Humanity got their quantum science, the Confederation their crystal engineering. They knew we'd have to come together to solve the puzzle. All those careful deceptions, Nixis marveled, her being now spread across several dimensional planes. Both our species hiding our true capabilities, maintaining our facades. It was all leading to this moment. The entropy waves approach became visible to conventional sensors, a wall of possibility-ending nothingness that would reduce the galaxy to a uniform soup of basic particles. But through their evolved senses, they could see the predecessor's solution, a network of quantum crystal nodes throughout the galaxy, waiting to be activated. The temporal pocket around the singularity. Zhang's consciousness expanded further as she grasped the full scope of the plan. It's large enough to hold every star, every planet, every form of life in our galaxy, but only if they're evolved beyond conventional matter first. The predecessor fleet began transmitting the full activation codes for the network. Through their combined technologies, the Earth Confederation fleet could now serve as a catalyst for the galaxy-wide transformation. We'll need to coordinate with every major civilization. Vrath's consciousness resonated through the quantum crystal matrix. Convert their ships, their worlds, their people. Everything must be elevated before the entropy wave hits. No more facades. Chen agreed, her form pulsing with determined energy. No more hidden technologies. Every species will need to evolve together, or none of us will survive. The next few hours stretched across multiple temporal states as they worked. The predecessor fleet joined with theirs, teaching them to use their newly evolved capabilities. Together, they began the enormous task of transforming an entire galaxy. Across countless worlds, beings of all species watched in awe as their reality began to shift. Ships transformed into quantum crystal matrices. Planets were enveloped in fields of evolved physics. Entire solar systems were gradually shifted into the enhanced state of existence that the predecessors had discovered millennia ago. Entropy wave approaching terminal distance. The merged AI networks reported across all dimensional planes of communication. Galaxy-wide transformation at 78% completion. In what remained of conventional space, Nixis, Chen, Zhang, and Vrath gathered their consciousness into a collective focus. Their fleet had become a singular entity of pure quantum crystal energy, ready to complete the transformation. Together, they resonated as one, their merged consciousness spanning the galaxy, as it was always meant to be. The entropy wave struck the outer edges of the galaxy just as the final transformations completed. But where it should have found matter to reduce to nothing, it passed through a space that no longer operated under its laws. The entire galaxy, every star and world, and being within it, had evolved beyond its reach. In the space around the galactic core, The quantum crystal fleet that had once been two separate forces merged with the predecessor vessels. They had become something new. Not human, not confederation, not even predecessor, but a harmony of all three. Through their expanded consciousness, they could sense new galaxies in the distance, places where other species were beginning their own journeys toward this elevated state of existence. Some would need guidance, others would need protection. All would need the wisdom that Earth and the Confederation had gained through their long dance of hidden technologies and careful deceptions. The entropy wave will reach them eventually, Zhang observed across multiple planes of reality. Then we'll be ready to help them evolve too. Chen's quantum crystal form pulsed with determination. Together, Vrath agreed, his consciousness resonating through dimensions. As it should be, Nixus completed the thought, her being spread across the vast network of evolved matter that had once been their galaxy. The merged fleet began its preparations. They had work to do, civilizations to guide, and an entire universe of possibilities to explore, together, in their new evolved state of existence.